In my time doing this, I have endured some bad Thursday night football games. This might have been the worst one because I think that the ugliest Thursday night football game I ever watched while doing this job was the Broncos Colts game from a few years ago. That was at least funny, right? That was so disgusting. It had like a certain entertainment level to it. Derrik, tonight did not provide that. There was nothing enjoyable about that game, maybe outside of a couple AJ Cole punts. That was the best part of the game. It wasn't even so bad it was good. It wasn't even like watching Jack and Jill or some like terrible movie that you can actually sit down on the couch and laugh at. There was nothing to derive any sort of pleasure from while watching that 3 hours of football.
No, there's bad that it ends up funny, like you said, and then there's bad that feels like this is deteriorating my health. This was worse for me than cigarettes. Like this game, man. It just
with none of the high, by the way.
With none of you don't get any of the good. At least you get like a dirty satisfaction out of a cigarette. You did not get that watching this game. Like this was awful from start to finish, and like I don't know, man. Like Geno Smith, like. I don't even know which part of this frustrated me the most. Like the Denver Broncos offense was completely inept for all of it.
Let's save offense.
That. Okay.
Let's save the Broncos offense conversation because this is one of those scenarios where like if you like with the Raiders offense against the Broncos defense, this is a scenario where it's like if you let a 5-year-old drive a car and it crashes the car, you're not going to get mad at the kid. Like, that's how I feel about the Raiders offense tonight. Like, I'm not going to get mad at the Raiders offense for what they did against the Broncos defense. We shouldn't expect anything different. It was still disgusting. I mean, every single layer of what sabotaged the Raiders offense today, we can run through them pretty quickly. The 2 positive plays they had in the first half were wiped off because of penalty. You already have a bad offensive line that has 2 guards. Now, you 2 backup guards in this game while missing your starting left tackle against arguably the best front in the league. That went about as well as you might expect it would go. Ashton Jeanty drops a ball that hits him in the hands. It's intercepted. Dante Thornton drops a ball that potentially could have gone for a touchdown in one of like the rare opportunities that the Raiders had in the entire game. And the quarterback continues to play like mind-numbingly bad football way too often for how good we've seen him be over the last couple of years. In the rare opportunities where there is somebody open, like that little whip route on the right side, to whom I cannot remember, it truly doesn't matter. He's missing those throws. And so at every single level, this is, and how many targets did Brock Bowers get in this game?
I remember the deep over.
Guy.
I remember the deep over he caught. And then after that, it just like, I'm so infuriated with the way this off. The problem was,
didn't it got 3 targets in the game?
3 targets.
3.
And didn't it feel like every drive it was like the same beat? It was like, oh, we're gonna try to do something on first down. Okay, on second down, we're either gonna like throw a useless screen or Geno is gonna get obliterated immediately. And then we're in 3rd and 8 against Nick Bonito, like Zach Allen, one of the best fronts in football. Like, how do you live this way? It's impossible.
The best encapsulation that I can think of is that it briefly looked like they were going to pull some magic out of their hat there in that drive that started in their own red zone. And like Geno hit a couple completions. They got to midfield. And the reason he did is because they had Brock Bowers in doing max protect.
And 8 guys in protection.
Brock Bowers doing max protect to give you a shot at a completion is so sad. It was. And I was having a lot of fun in like a sadistic kind of way of just like how deep does the well go? Like how gross can this get? And then Geno getting banged up just made it even sadder than it already was. Yeah. And I think it's worth pointing out he should have gotten a late hit flag on that drive.
Absolutely. I cannot believe that was not a roughing the passer. Like considering what is currently roughing the passer, it was late and he twists him down low. Like it just, not that it matters in any way, but that was just one log on like the shit fire that this game was for 3 hours.
It does matter though, because like, look, this says a lot about me and I'm sorry, but like I was rooting for overtime. Like I said, I just wanted to see.
Oh my God, you are sick.
No,
you are sick.
And the flag,
Dave, that's wrong.
The flag took that away from us, and then obviously Daniel Carlson had a chance to tie it and biffed a very makeable field goal. The game wasn't good. I'm not trying to act like I was enjoying it, but after a certain point, you're rooting for as disgusting as possible. And I was a little bummed that we didn't get all the way there.
Ted Nguyen, who does a fantastic job covering the NFL for us, but also grew up as a Raiders fan, has a Raiders podcast, watches the Raiders more closely than any other team. He said something on Twitter this week that I was like, it was perfectly encapsulated. He said, the Raiders have an identity now, and it's Brock Bowers. Well, he had one catch, and so the Raiders didn't have an identity again. Without Brock Bowers, there is no plan or cohesion to this entire offense. And then you pull out a couple offensive linemen from an already shaky Jenga tower, and this is the final result that you get.
And you know what's frustrating? I know they had a bunch of banged up offensive linemen, but for like the first 2 drives, it did kind of feel like they found something in the run game. Like they kept motioning someone across.
What a
the
time
line.
It was.
And then I know, like it was like they have something. They would motion someone one way, run the other way. They hit a couple of gap plays. I was like, okay. Like even the touchdown they scored was like a power gap run on the goal line. I'm like, okay, maybe they got a little something here. And they just never found it again. It disappeared. Gone.
Jeanty made a handful of plays in this game. And he had the interception on the angle route that clanged off of his hands. Like he wasn't amazing or anything, but you just see flashes where you're like, oh my God, this guy could be so good on any other team in the league. And it's all going to waste right now. Like it got called back by the holding, but like the little move he made to get past the second level on what would have been the explosive run in the first half. And he had another one. I think it was like a 3rd and short in the second half to keep a drive going where it was like all yards after contact. And I was just like, this guy kicks ass, and it just doesn't matter because everything else on this offense is so bad.
I give a lot of credit to the Raiders defense for continuing to play as hard as they do right now. And we talked about it this week, Derrik. This is not a team with a lot of talent, and their defense has been so much better than it has any right to be, given the players that they are trotting out, especially in the back 7. And, Adam Butler had a couple flashes today. Max Crosby continues to be Max Crosby. Like, Patrick Graham is somebody who, if Patrick Graham's performances every year happen in a forest, do they make a sound? Like that he is that defensive coordinator right now. And I feel bad for the work that he continues to do with this franchise. It's why they kept him, and justifiably so. And none of it matters based on the state of the offense. Like, I think that the Raiders offense, and I know there are reasons for this, and they're banged up front with a group that was already shaky. I don't think I was more wrong about like the tepid excitement I had and curiosity I had for a single unit in the NFL more than the Raiders offense this season. Like any sort of curiosity or like, Chip Kelly's compelling choice. Like it just has not manifested in any way.
I mean, it's what we did with the Bears last year, right? Where it's like, man, look at all these pass catchers they've got. They've got a quarterback that might be fun. We'll see about the play caller, all this stuff. And then you look at the offensive line, and it's just not. It just doesn't get you to a place where any of that can realize itself in any way.
Let's get to the other side of the ball. I don't want to hear it anymore.
I'm done. Yeah.
I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't have to take you seriously if this is what your passing game is going to look like. I'm done. I'm just tired of hearing about it. I don't want to hear that, they're still winning. Whatever. If you want to beat up the Raiders on Thursday Night Football, congratulations. Like, I don't have to take you seriously if that is what you're going to continue trotting out. And I don't want to hear any differently anymore.
This feels more than anything to me. Robert, you can tell me if I'm wrong. This feels very much like the Trubisky era Bears, where it's like the defense is nuts.
That's mean.
But doesn't it though? Like a quarterback who he can kind of only RPO and boot, and the offense isn't that good. Every now and then they have their flashes because he's an athlete, and the defense is a machine, and that's the reason that they're winning these games.
It's not a bad comparison. And I think that one of the reasons that it's so incisive is that it kind of brings me to a similar place where you look at what the defense is doing. And if this is the state of the offense, it is for naught. Like it is eventually going to be futile. You have to be a certain type of defense to take it the distance when you are the only thing. And it's really, 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 really hard to be that. You have to be historically great. You have to be the 2015 Broncos. That's not what this is. They are really good. They are not that sort of defense to carry what the offense currently looks like when you have to play against the real teams in the biggest games of the season. And that's how the 2018 Bears were. It's exactly what they felt like. That was the best defense in the league by a lot. And they still were not good enough to make it worthwhile when you get into the playoffs and have to play against the real teams.
Yeah, like that's just like there were just so many moments in this game where it just did not feel to me like Bo Nix had any idea what was going on. Like missing throws is one thing, or like being out schemed by the Raiders or whatever is one thing. But like this, just to me, there were so many moments where he just did not feel like he had any idea what was going on. There was right out of the half, I think it was their first third down. They're running like a flat smash combo to the left. Bo Nix drifts in the pocket immediately to his left, double clutches, and then throws the flat late as the corner is already driving down on it. So obviously that play is completely dead. And then there was a 2nd and 12 in the red zone after the blocked punt. So like completely free possession here for the Broncos. Las Vegas drops 8, and Bo Nix looks like he's never seen it before. And like triple clutches again, freaks out, and then misses a throw on a pylon, like tried to make a throw near the pylon that could have been a touchdown if it was more accurate. It's just like so many moments like that where it's like you can win regular season games like this when your defense is that. You're not going to win any sort of meaningful games when that's going on.
Y'all cut right to what I wanted to talk about, which is, so are we saying the Broncos are frauds? Is that what we're saying?
No, the defense is too good for them to be frauds, but
yeah,
they're not serious. Like you can't be a serious team if this is the state of your offense. And that's kind of where I land with this.
This feels to me, to make another comparison, like the Houston Texans last year. They weren't a good football team because the offense wasn't that good, but you could spoil a team in the wild card round that maybe was a little bit better than you overall. But you're not going to win the Super Bowl doing what this team is doing.
Yeah, I think I have a hard time getting a handle on it. But I think that's right. But I look at the Broncos and I'm just like, and even if they're not remarkably great, like, once a decade great or anything like that, they're still arguably the best defense in the NFL, and they can drag you to hell for 60 minutes. They've been doing it all year long.
You can't do that 4 times though.
No, and that's the thing. That's what I was going to say is I could imagine this team pulling a run out of its ass on the back of its defense, but like all the way to the Super Bowl, no, it's hard for me to see.
Where do they need? Is there a version of this that can get to a place where you justify the defense, Derrik? Like, what needs to improve in your mind for them to get to an acceptable level where the defense is viable in those sort of playoff games that we're talking about?
Like with this quarterback?
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, I don't know. I guess you probably hope that the run game would be a little bit better, and the fact that they found their level a little bit towards the second half, but the fact that they've been so up and down and a little bit better this year, but still not the like we can grind out anybody type of unit. I think that has been frustrating given the talent that they have on the offensive line. But I think the passing game, like they've stripped it down to the studs so much because I really don't think that they trust what he can do as a passer. And I just don't know, like, what is the fix if that is what your offense is?
I truly don't have much else to say about it. Like, I'm at a place now where it's like, I just don't want to hear about it anymore. It's like, I don't want to hear about how they're winning and that's what matters and everything else. It's just like, I'm kind of over it until proven otherwise. Like, if you want me to take you seriously, that play better than that. Like, just like point blank period, show me something that's different than that, because against every team that has not been the Bengals and the Cowboys, that has not been the case.
I don't disagree with anything that you're saying. I mean, I don't want to be the one that defends this. I don't want to.
You don't have to be. Nobody has to do this. None of us are in a
position to do it. I've been the one, just for the sake of conversation, going back to the summer, that's been like, oh, well, he can get better. He's going into year 2. The infrastructure's good enough. Sean Payton's such a good offensive play caller. I've been the one pushing back against you guys in a way because I felt like I've had to do it. And now if I'm done, it's going to be hard to find like an opposing viewpoint among this trio when it comes to the hope we should feel about this offense.
I guess I would just say this is we've been playing a lot of ball. We have a very good idea of who everyone is at this point, but there is still half the season to go.
It's fair.
The Broncos have a late bye. They don't get their bye until week 12 after they play the Chiefs coming up next week. So as improbable as it seems, because they've been a slightly different version of the same thing all season long, with the exception of the Bengals and Cowboys games, they have time to find a tweak that could make this better. But on November 6th, don't you think they would have thought of the idea that was going to work by now?
Exactly. And to me, if anything, they've just like continued to take things out of his hands. Like it's even more RPO stuff and just like very simple pick aside stuff where they just don't want him to play football. Like I'm a little bit done with playing out the string here. Like the reality is that half of these young quarterbacks will be bad and will not be starting in 2 years. And like if I'm to the point where I'm just like calling it how I see it, with one being one of those that's going to fall on that side of the coin, that's just kind of where I'm at, I think, with Bo Nix.
This is anecdotal and it's an earnest question. Did he make a play tonight that wasn't like a boot or a scramble out? Like, yeah,
No.
like I can think of like the 2 throws that he made where I was like, oh, it's a pretty nice play. And it was different variations of the same thing where you get him moving right and throw to a crosser. Like that's all I can think of.
He stepped up in the pocket one time. The only time he stepped up in the pocket, the entire defensive line was already behind him.
Yes. and he
stepped up in the pocket, made that throw to the left on that curl. And Kirk was talking about how great he was seeing the field.
And which, yeah, crazy, but the entire night of all that, by the way. But that's such a good point about the boots and the scramble stuff. He's thrown outside of the pocket more than any quarterback in the league this season. That's cool if you're Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. You have to be better at it to do it this much. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I have another earnest question. On the second interception, the one that got batted up into the air by Troy Franklin, was he aiming for Troy Franklin and
I don't think so.
and the other guy jumped in front of it, or did he throw a shit pass to the other guy that got batted and Troy Franklin wasn't ready for it? I've watched it back. The all 22 is already up on Next Gen. I've watched it back and I can't really tell. It is a dubious play.
So I'll say this. I'm a Bo Nix, detractor, I would say. So I'm probably inclined to believe that he's just messing up and that it's just a really bad throw. But like it kind of does look like he's throwing that right as I think it's Pat Bryant is the underneath
player. You're right. Yeah.
Right as he's breaking and he's trying to throw it. And also based on the fact that I think Nix, for a majority of his career, and I think especially late last season, you could say that he is a generally accurate quarterback. I think for a lot of the season, and especially in this game, he just was not accurate. And so with that on top of that, that being towards the end of the game, that's kind of just how I feel about that play.
All right. We don't have to beat a dead horse here. I think the Broncos offense
joke or...
Oh man.
Hey.
The Broncos offense is on notice, right? They're on hiatus for a little while until I have a reason to feel differently about them. And I think we can leave it at that.
Hey, I'll just lean into the bit a little bit harder, but it's Chiefs Broncos next week. And if they find a way to pull that out of their ass, I mean, they're sitting pretty at the top of that division, whether we like it or not. That's just the truth. I mean, I don't think I would pick the Broncos to get that win, but crazier things have happened.
I think they can beat the Chiefs. That's not the point, right? We just said it. They can win a game against a good team. They can't win multiple games against good teams when it matters. And that's the point of this. And I think that there are going to be some people that are I can't believe you're shitting all over this team. They're 8-2. They have one of the best defenses in the league. You know why I have this viewpoint? Derrik pointed out exactly why. I've watched this type of football team 10,000 times. And I know what this type of football team does, and I know how this shit ends. And so it is really hard for me to sit here and listen to how I don't appreciate or understand a young quarterback, and it's going to be fine, and they're winning, and that's all that matters. Great. If you're winning games again on Thursday night against the Raiders in November, congratulations. If you're coming back and beating that Giants team, congratulations. It just, that isn't the type of stuff that matters. I think this team, based on the way that their fan base views it, coming into the year and right now, they want to be treated seriously. They want to be treated like a contender, and they are not that. And I'm fine saying that.
I don't, at the end of the day, disagree, at least not based on what we've seen so far. And Bo Nix is not young either. He turns 26 in February. So
God,
He has
just
a- he
salt
has-
in the
he-
wound.
He has a young career, right? Like, and this is not just like, this isn't anecdotal. The Broncos right now have the 6th worst passing success rate in the NFL per next gen stats. 3 of the teams below them, 4 of the 5 teams below them are the Browns, Titans, Giants, and Jaguars. I don't think I'm like missing something secret here. Like it's sitting right in front of you, and it was sitting right in front of you again tonight. That's all I'll say. It's getting late enough that I'm getting punchy enough to say something stupid. All right. That is all we've got for today. If you have not, I mean, you can't yet. It's coming out overnight. Please check out our Week 10 preview. A lot of fun games on the Week 10 slate this week. It'll be up on YouTube at 12 p.m. Central Time on Friday. It is in your podcast feeds right now, wherever you get your podcasts on the Athletic Football Show. We hit Packers, Eagles, Rams, Niners, one thing from multiple fun games. Ravens, Vikings is a way better game than it looked a month ago. We have Chargers, Steelers tomorrow. We chatted a little bit about Bears, Giants. A lot of fun conversations on that show. A little bit about Kyler and his benching and what that means for the Cardinals. So encourage you guys to go check that out. For now, that is all we've got. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll talk to you very soon.